to win money, Breeders' Cup Friday, Breeders' Cup Saturday? First of all, Friday's the babies. Explain that and talk about Saturday's quality races.
Yeah, so Friday, Saturday split's really interesting. Typically, Friday split is either all the 2-year-old races or all the female races. This year, they opted for all the 2-year-old races, so 5 races on the card, 3 turf races, 2 dirt races. The 2 sort of stalwarts in the lineup are the juvenile turf, the juvenile and the juvenile fillies run at a mile and 16th on the dirt. Then there's the juvenile fillies turf, the juvenile turf, and the juvenile turf sprint. That was a mouthful. So there's 5 total races on Friday. And then what do we have on that? What's that? 14 minus 5? I'm not a math guy. I think there's 9 more on Saturday. Yep. And 4 turf races on Saturday, that is. And the reason why I mentioned turf, it's just for the non-horse bettors, the turf races play much differently. And especially in the Breeders' Cup, where we're getting European overseas shippers coming to run, where their main track is turf. Our main track is dirt. So it's one of those, like when we go to the Olympics and we get our rear ends kicked in soccer, our best athletes aren't playing soccer in the United States. So when they come here, they kick our rear ends in soccer and they kick our rear ends on the turf. And I got some interesting turf stats that I'm monitoring for the week, pre-past performances. But it looks like there's 200 pre-entries. It's going to be a big couple days.
Over there, from what I understand, it's usually a little different than turf. What are they like over there? There's like 3 or 4 different words you could use for turf. And what do we have at Del Mar in 9 days?
Yeah, it's an interesting dichotomy. The turf here, we have our tight turns. We run very fast. The European races have very wide sweeping turns, with the races under a mile sometimes not even having any turns. Their ground is often soft. So the European horses that ship over here often are horses that their trainers are projecting to do well on like a hard surface, right? You're running on the highway in Del Mar. It's going to be hot. It's not going to be raining, hopefully. So it's a little bit different. So when these horses ship over, one thing to always keep an eye on is horses that are running shorter distances in Europe that are coming to the United States to run a little bit longer of a distance. Because it's just they don't have the turn of foot we have. So that's something you got to keep an eye on as these horses come over, really.
What do you think is the most – if you could pick one thing out of the numbers that people should look at, what is it?
On a non-Breeders' Cup, non-large racing day, I'm looking at trader win percentage. That's the number one statistic I'm looking at. On Breeders' Cup day –
0.2 or above is good there, right?
Yeah, exactly. 0.2 or above. Or if you got the special juices that Bob has out in California, 0.3.5 and above. But on a big day like the Breeders' Cup, that doesn't really matter. The best trainers in the world that win at 20% in every track are bringing their horses in with their jockeys that win at 20%. So that's sort of null, right? And the thing you got to look at, and it's hard, right? Because the one thing I would point to is speed figures, right? Speed figures try to balance track biases on that day with the time that was run, the time that was run on a day where it's rainy and cold versus a day that's, 95 and hot in California. What does that mean? How are they different? The third variable that comes into play here is the European ratings are slightly different. They use something called time form ratings, which time form tries to apply their formula here with a little bit less success. So if you're looking at the dirt races, speed figures are utmost importance, especially 2-year-old races where you have 1, 2, sometimes 3 races to look at. So you're looking at speed figures. If you're trying to find some value, you're looking to find a trend. Is there a horse moving up in the speed figures? The horse that's dominating in the speed figures probably isn't going to make you much money on this day.